Hey guys, Khrezin here. I just wanted to have kind of a bit of a, different kind of video, I guess a real talk with you guys about, my thoughts on Shadowlands and, the Burning Crusade Classic and all kinds of things like that. So, it's kind of like an Asmongold-esque kind of way. I figured this would be the best way to talk to you guys about why I'm playing so much, Burning Crusade, or Classic WoW, I guess, and why I'm playing a little bit less Shadowlands than I have been playing, most of this patch, most of this season, most of this year. So I guess when we're gonna get right down into it, I guess we might as well talk about the issues with Shadowlands and Arena and raids and all that kind of thing. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about, I made a whole list of notes here, would be the fact that just like globals feel so unimportant, which kind of sucks because it feels like, honestly, I can, on my monk, after I pop like all my cooldowns, I can hit pretty much any button and kill someone. And I feel like Ret Paladin's damage feels a little bit too kind of random. It's like you can get just like a massive divine toll proc and just like one shot someone for like a 60k judgment, or like a 30k like final verdict. It's a little bit too random. Yeah, I feel like the globals just don't matter anymore. You can kind of just hit whatever you want and things will fall over. You're just like, you'll just go to full HP randomly, or it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. So like, it's a thing for both sides, healers and DPS, and I guess tanks too, because the prop paladins have been kind of prominent this season, I guess you could say. And then one of the other things that I guess is kind of connected to that is that the game feels so focused on these big one shots, these exciting moments, which I don't know, like, yeah, I mean, I guess I can see why people find it attractive to watch content with like big one shots. It's exciting, it's hype up. I don't know. I guess that's kind of what it is, but I don't. When you have something like that, it can be good from a viewer perspective, but it doesn't feel very good from a player perspective. Even as one of those players that goes in and one shots people frequently, it doesn't necessarily feel great. You're not getting anything out of the game. You're not learning anything. And I guess that's kind of my play style. Is I really like to learn how to do things differently and adapt to my situation. But right now, it kind of feels like you don't really need to do that, even at like higher MMR arena. Which is kind of backwards in my opinion. But I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I think that's just kind of a personal gripe. I guess you could say. And then another thing that kind of ties into the Shadowlands problems is the Covenant abilities, and I feel like the Covenant abilities kind of make you unlearn everything that you kind of knew, which can be a good thing, but it's also kind of a bad thing. I think there are too many mechanics like mind games and stuff. So it's like, you have an ability that completely resets the way that you have to think about things. So if it doesn't get dispelled, if you damage someone and you have the mind games effect on you, it's going to heal them. And if you heal yourself, you're really damaging yourself. And I think in a game where they're trying to garner a lot of new, player base, I feel like this definitely becomes an issue because it makes it really confusing and hard for newer players to get into the game. Which I think there should be some complicated systems in there, but I definitely think there are times where it's taken too far. And I guess another part of that could be, the Hunter Kyrian ability, for example. At the start of the expansion, we saw a whole lot of marksmanship hunters using that, and just kind of using that double tap, kind of one shot combo, and just like one shotting you through a pillar. It doesn't necessarily feel very good because it doesn't really work well in arena because the arenas are such like a small closed map, and marksmanship hunters have such a long range, and like such high damage. So you can't really get away because the only way that you play against that really is either you pop like a whole bunch of CC onto that guy or a whole bunch of defensives, or you can like try and run out of range. But in an arena, like I said, it can be really really hard to run out of range. Some people might just say, oh, just kick convoke, just um, I don't know, just CC the hunter and run away. It's not quite that easy, especially once you get into a bit higher MMR. You're playing against players that know what they're doing, and I don't know. I feel like this creates a lot of a lot of problems with how you learn the game and how you see the game. I don't want to take too long in this video, so I'm just going to kind of keep moving on through a lot of the points that I want to discuss here. And I guess since we're discussing class abilities, I think one of the next things we should talk about is how every class is gaining other classes' abilities, and this has been a problem in the past, like in Legion, and when they start giving everybody else's abilities, then that class identity just goes out the window, and it makes the game kind of feel weird. Like there's no point in making an alt because you have all the other abilities anyway. And I think the issue with 9.1 that I'm seeing so far is that they're going back to that. They're making gear matter less, and they're also giving most classes like Mortal Strike. And I think there should be a little bit of uniqueness out there for certain classes. Like I understand that some classes already have it, like Hunter Pets have Mortal Strike, Monks have Mortal Strike with Rising Sun Kick. But yeah, it just when you start giving everybody else's abilities, you're not really playing a class anymore. You're just kind of playing the game, and I don't know. Sometimes I guess that's an okay system, but overall, I would say that's kind of harmful to the game and the player's overall enjoyment. So I think that's just kind of a big issue that I'm seeing kind of trend forward right now. Blizzard's not really making any necessary PvP changes to keep class identity or paying enough attention to the issues that already exist or have existed for a long time, like the mind control bug for priests. Like it's a little bit ridiculous that some of these things haven't really been changed pretty much at all, and we've been experiencing the longest patch and the longest first season of an expansion ever in World of Warcraft's history. I understand that COVID has a lot of issues there. However, Blizzard has also admitted that they only have about 3 or 4 developers on the PvP team. PvP is Shadowlands' saving grace in a way, because like while the raids were a little bit more difficult, they were kind of interesting, and I feel like the Mythic raid obviously is a lot more difficult than a traditional raid, and a lot less players are clearing that content. They did a good job with the raids, but people are bored of it because it's been out so long. It doesn't matter how hard it is if it's been out for like how long has it been? 7 months, 7-8 months now, and we've had the same raid, the same PvP season, and yeah, people are just kind of quitting the game, and we've got about like 30 to 60%, approximately the numbers that I've been hearing. 30% we know for sure from the Blizzard's earning call have all quit the game and are no longer subscribed. I think that's a big problem, and I think a lot of people are going to come back for TBC, and I think honestly a lot of people are going to find that they might enjoy TBC a little bit more. It's a little bit more of a well-designed, cared-for game where there are interesting systems that not necessarily are too complicated. While there are some complicated systems, I feel like the game is in a much more simplified state. However, they kind of elevate that a little bit for PvP and stuff in Burning Crusade because I think they wanted to make sure they put more of a focus on PvP because they saw how much people enjoyed it in Classic with the addition of Battlegrounds and all that kind of thing. So when they push it forward and introduce new battlegrounds and arenas and all that, I think people might find that they enjoy having that class identity and enjoy having that actual MMO aspect. Yeah, I think that's kind of a difference in the two games here, where you've got one game where you're just kind of gas, 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 go all the time, one shot everything, and then you kind of come over to Burning Crusade, where it's a little bit more slow and calculated, and it depends on the person, but I think a lot of people might enjoy that a little bit more. Um, Currently, I think they take a lot of fun out of the game with some certain classes and specs, like Warriors playing Venthyr, and pretty much 80% of their globals are hitting Condemn. I think that's kind of an issue when it comes to having fun with the game. So, like, a lot of players rerolled Warrior because it was really good, not necessarily because it was really fun. When you're sitting there just spamming Condemn and then, hitting a defensive whenever you need to, hitting an Intervene whenever you need to, other than that, you're not really doing a whole lot. You're kind of just like waiting for your avatar and your blade storm and all those kind of things so you can make sure you get the most damage out of it. Which is not inherently an issue, but I think it kind of falls in line with that instant gratification kind of issue that a lot of classes are kind of trending towards. and how World of Warcraft and Shadowlands like retail is trending towards. There's not really a whole lot that you actually have to work for, which kind of introduces the boosting meta, and that's something I do want to talk about next. Because there are good things and there are bad things about it. So it creates a little bit of economy, which is kind of a good thing. So a lot of players can earn a lot of gold if they're good at the game, which is something that PvPers didn't really have in the past. But I guess boosting's been going on for a really long time in both PvE and PvP. However, people have never been able to make this kind of gold before. I've been approached by multiple boosting services asking me to become a booster for them, and while that's something that I don't really believe in, I would just like to help people, and I don't want to make this seem like it's a I don't like a glorified thing, but I don't know. I don't believe in that kind of thing. It was such like a frowned upon thing in the past, but now everyone's just kind of embracing it, and you know like right now, what does it cost? It's like I heard like 300,000 gold to get someone like 1,400 or like 1,600. Like that's a joke. I do that on the stream every day, like 10 times a day, and while there's a purpose for it because people are essentially paying you to get that gear, so they're paying 300,000 gold for you to get them to 1,400 ratings, so they can get all of their what is it like 207 gear? Like it's not even great. It's kind of whatever, and like 1,600 gear is like 213, and so that's probably like another, I don't know, I'm guessing 150 200,000 gold or something like that. So you could be spending 500,000 gold to get mediocre gear, and people are paying up to like a million gold. I was hearing on some threads the other day, to get up to I think it was like 1,800 or 2,100. So imagine spending a million gold, which is probably, so a WoW token costs about $20. So yeah, probably 150, $200 depending on what kind of rating you're trying to get and what kind of player you're or I guess service that you're going through, depending on pricing. But I don't know. I feel like that puts too much emphasis on paying to win in a way, because you're paying real money for gold. A lot of people do. Oh my, hold on. Welcome back. All right, but yeah. So I would say the boosting meta is good and bad. It serves a purpose, and I think a lot of people are obviously taking advantage of the fact that they can just kind of just buy gear and get what they want, with their money, which isn't really a bad thing. I think Blizzard, should be trying to make money, but I feel like the retail part of things is kind of monetizing things a little bit too much. And I guess that kind of brings us into our next point when we're going to be talking about TBC and classic and stuff. So it looks like they might be considering introducing a WoW token to TBC. They have created a graphic with like a green TBC kind of flame around it, or around the token graphic. It's in the shop, however, it's hidden. I'm going to be talking about this on my stream later today, but I figured that was a point worth talking about. I think if they do that, then it's going to create even more of a boosting meta, because this boosting meta definitely exists within Classic already. A lot of people, get boosted, whether it's, doing Zul'Gurub to get leveled up. A lot of people I've seen in Looking for Group are, they call themselves buyers, and they're essentially buying their way into a Blackwing Layer group, or a, Nax Ramus group, or AQ40 groups, and they're just kind of buying all of their gear. And GDKP, I think, is a really good thing, which stands for Gold Dragon Kill Points. So essentially, players bid gold on items, and then it all goes into a pot. And at the end of the run, the pot is kind of distributed amongst the whole raid, so you can kind of make gold. And I think that's a really good way of doing it, because it doesn't actually involve buying any gold unless you're planning on bidding on things. But you can also farm gold for several weeks and then go and buy what you really want in future runs, which I think is a really good system. It allows players to kind of build up their gold process enough to do that in a meaningful way. We're talking about meaningful things. I feel like Burning Crusade has a lot of meaningful gearing choices and combat. So Burning Crusade is similar to Classic. You can kind of gear no matter what way you want. You can do dungeons, you can do raids, you can do PvP, and the gear is useful for both sides of content, for PvE and PvP. While TBC does introduce resilience a little bit, which is kind of a PvP stat that similar to versatility, makes you take less damage. I think it's a good system to be able to gear from multiple parts of the game. Why? Something that I also really tend to enjoy about Burning Crusade is that it's really kind of an actual RPG and an MMO where the world feels alive. You can go and talk to people. You can go do content. You can kind of just do what you feel like doing, and it feels like when you do dungeons and raids and run around in the world, it feels like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign because it was kind of built like that. And I think that's something that's really interesting and a little bit lost on some of the like I said, the instant gratification, the fast pace of things in Shadowlands. And like I said, it's not to say that, the fast pace is necessarily a bad thing in Shadowlands, but it kind of causes a lot of the problems there too. The next thing I think I want to talk about is the fact that Burning Crusade, I think, fosters a great PvP experience. So a lot of the changes that they made and a lot of like the class abilities and talents that you're able to gain from going from 60 to 70, I guess a great example is Cloak of Shadows for rogues, which is not particularly super important for PvE, but I think it's an amazing addition for PvP and doing battlegrounds and arenas. It allows rogues to kind of get those resets that they wouldn't normally get in classic. So like say right now in a battleground, I'm a rogue. I go up against a warlock. I get dotted 2-3 times by a Nax geared warlock, and I die from full HP regardless if he touches me again after those dots are on me. In TBC, you get a little more of that freedom with Cloak of Shadows because you can actually just like run in line of sight and then just use your Cloak of Shadows, remove your dots, and get that re-stealth, which I think makes class a little bit more interesting, makes PvP a little bit more interesting, increases the pace of it a little bit, which is kind of a problem with classic. I think PvP is a little bit too slow sometimes. However, like we were talking about earlier with meaningful globals and everything, I think PvP in Burning Crusade ends up kind of jump starting where Shadowlands is kind of ending up now, where everyone just wants these instant abilities that hit hard right away, and Burning Crusade kind of pioneers. I'm trying to think of a way to word it. I guess it's like the start of a faster paced game with still having the slower, more Dungeons and Dragons esque kind of feel in your combat and meaningful combat and globals. And I think that's a really positive change for the game, and that's why I didn't really particularly care for the classic content. However, I really tend to like Burn and Crusade and Wrath the Lich King because Wrath the Lich King takes that a couple steps further and makes the game a little bit faster. Pretty much every expansion has kind of picked up the pace on gameplay and combat. Removing certain things like missing hits and like hit cap. Those things get removed over the years, so combat really kind of begins to be a lot faster and a little bit less focused on like auto attacking for melee classes, and just like I said, just kind of makes a much faster paced game. Something next to talk about is what to expect from my content in the future. So don't worry, retail arena is not going away. I'm going to be still playing my monk. I'm still going to be playing my shaman. There may be a new class that I level up and have another you know kind of spurt of fun on an alt. I guess you could say like maybe I level my rogue on retail and see how that's gonna go. And yeah, I mean we're not gonna be stopping playing like retail arena or raids or anything like that. I'm actually kind of excited for 9.1 and hoping that they turn things around in that patch because they've had a lot of time to think about different things that they want to do with the game and actually implement changes. And while I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the things that they're doing with 9.1, I think there are some things to be excited about, like the new Monk Kyrian Legendary that allows you to have a 12-second Zwen proc when you activate your Weapons of Order, which is the Kyrian ability. I think things like that make the game a little bit more exciting. However, I do think that there are some things that are harmful to the game, like adding Mortal Strike to most classes and giving like paladins like a Master spell. I think that's a problem. However, yeah, like I said, we're going to be playing a lot of retail in the future. I will also be playing a lot of Burning Crusade Rogue, whether it's PVE or Battlegrounds or Arena, World PvP. I think there's a lot of things to get engaged with on Burning Crusade, and I definitely want to make that a part of my content in the future, and hopefully for the long run. I mean, the TBC Rogue is definitely one of my favorite iterations of Rogue or any class, I guess, in that matter. I played Rogue for I guess the majority of the last 16 years or so. I only really kind of stopped maining my Rogue in like Warlords of Draenor, um, because they kind of took the hemorrhage spec out, and that was kind of my favorite thing about the Rogue, and yeah, you couldn't really do that anymore. I'm not really a huge fan of the Shadow Strike dance kind of Rogue. It's not for me. So I definitely think that's a large reason why I want to be playing TBC. We're also going to be doing a lot of special events coming up. I think you guys enjoyed a lot of the Bob Ross stuff and a lot of the Rock Band, and I'm going to be putting on a lot more fun events like that very soon. Some IRL content like going for walks, and yeah, like I said, I think that kind of ties in with the special events kind of thing because most of the time we're sitting in there, we're playing World of Warcraft, we're gaming it up. However, I'm really excited about sharing the the special event content with you guys, and while it may take a little bit longer because Burning Crusade comes out tomorrow, um, I do definitely intend to do a lot of that kind of content very soon. I guess on the last thing, we're gonna have much more YouTube content. I feel like I should probably be doing some of these real talk kind of videos with you guys a little bit more often and telling you guys how I feel about things and why I feel the way that I do about them. So I would definitely expect a lot more kind of vlog kind of content and IRL and stuff on my social media and YouTube. So yeah, be sure to look out for that. And yeah, I guess let's wrap this thing up. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna go start the stream in just a minute. Yeah, see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Khrezin. I'll talk to you soon.